Hello, everyone. Dave Robinson here. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. Thank you so much for watching this live. It's a recorded live, but thank you so much for watching it. I wanted to do a live live, but the time has eluded me, and the time has gotten late here in South Carolina. I know the background looks like it's daylight, but that is a really, really nice background backdrop. So I really enjoy having that backdrop. It looks really nice, but it's nighttime here, and so by the time you watch this live stream, it is dark, or it could be the next morning, whatever time you watch. But I just want to say thank you so much. Today, I just wanted to talk a lot about the upcoming search on April the 12th. I have a search for my son, geologist Daniel Robinson. You guys know the story. Those who do not, please go to pleasehelpfinddane.com and learn more about how you can help in my efforts to find my son. But also, you can Google Daniel Robinson, geologist Daniel Robinson, and you'll learn a lot about what I have been doing. You can follow the social media platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. It's Please Help Find Daniel, except for Twitter, of course, which I rarely get on now because of some things going on with Twitter. But it's Please Help Find number 4. Please Help Find number 4. And but the rest of everything from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, is Please Help Find Daniel. And also the website again is pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Learn, even YouTube, you find everything you need to learn about my son's case. I've been working very hard for 3 years now to search for him, to advocate for him, to fight for his justice. I'm still continuing to do so, also to help other families. But I'll be talking about that on the other side, so you guys can please hang in there with me. I'll be right back.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
I also want to thank the volunteers that come out here every weekend, volunteering their time.
Raise your hands real quick. Go to look down the line. These are your feet. Please raise your hands. Yes, and in the middle.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for standing here with me to watch this live stream, recorded live stream. Again, for those who just joined in, I'm David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son was missing out in the Sonoran Desert of Buckeye, Arizona. Of course, my son is from Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. He went to the College of Charleston. He majored in geology. He graduated with honors. Decided to take his wonderful career, his life dream, out into Arizona to do some great work. Desert state, something that geologists love the most. So, of course, my son enjoyed being out there in Arizona. He worked for an engineering company called Nature's New World, also called Nature Southwest Groundwater. They hired him on as a field geologist. What a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. What a field geologist, hydrogeologist does is go out to various well sites, various areas of where there's groundwater. They tend to assist drilling companies when they are drilling these wells, to assess these groundwater, make sure the water is drinkable, et cetera, et cetera. All the stuff is based on science. And my son's job was very deep into it. Arizona being a desert state, they rely on groundwater, and by law, these communities that are being built have to have those groundwaters, and those groundwaters have to sustain that community, and they have to sustain it for 100 years, recharging itself after the 100 years. So, of course, they need scientists and people like that to do the water measurements and things to make sure this can happen. On June 23rd, 2021, my son was out doing his job. He did 2 well sites that was connected to each other. First well site, he went to get some logs. He took pictures of those logs. And the story is he went to the second well site, where he met only one sole person who said my son followed him to that Sonoran Desert, to this well site. Once they got there around 9 o'clock that morning, they had a brief conversation about the weather, And the weird part is he said my son wanted to go back to Phoenix, though he lived in Tempe, to rest. And that somehow that my son waved off to him in that conversation. Less than 15 minutes of that conversation, at 9:15, he drove off to never be seen again. His vehicle showed up 30 days later into a ravine. You guys seen some of the pictures that I have. I don't have a really good picture up here now, but you know what's on the flyer, the vehicle sitting in that ravine, lying on the side, a 20-foot ravine, lying on the passenger side. And everything on my son's body, allegedly, though we don't really recognize the clothing, were lying outside that vehicle 3 feet away in a pile. So again, you guys can learn more about the story tonight. I'm not today here or tonight, depending on how you're watching this. I am not going through the whole case here, but I will be talking about the search and why I'm doing the search. As you guys know, you may have heard, I'm basing the search on a tip that I have that seemed promising to me. It's a good eyewitness approach, and I will have the search out there in the Sonoran Desert on April the 12th. Also, to cover, depending on how many people I have that come out to the search, I have a great amount of people that's already signed up. I even have, thank you, Mr. Petito, Gabby Petito's father. He would join me out in the search to help in the search effort. But I want to see how many people I have so I can also cover an area that we were not able to get in those 49 weeks of desert search of 35,000 acres of land that we covered. And again, you guys, once you get out in the desert, those who have been out in the search before, you will understand why it takes a lot of time and a lot of efforts when you're doing line searches. And the desert can be very intimidating because it's so wide and broad. But those things are based on science, information that we got from Daniel's case, and et cetera, et cetera. So the search has been going on for a long time, and I can't tell you. I'm happy to say that we brought some closures for families while I was out there. Dedicated people out there from, I mean, we was 118-degree weather to the wintertime when it's very cold. You got in there in between when it's hot in the day and cold at night. So we threw a lot of extreme weather to first try to rescue Daniel, and secondly, go on to rescue missions. And I can say we recovered human remains, bringing closures for other families. So that's when I say it's that bittersweet moment where we actually able to help a family, but not in a way they would like. So nobody would like to hear about their family found in the desert on that ground. But we did give them some form of closure to say, hey, now we know where my loved one is while we was out searching for Daniel. So, of course, you guys, a lot of things came out of the search, a lot of good efforts, solved a case for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, finding a stolen vehicle out there in that desert. So it's a lot of things that came out. Everything we learned about what happened to my son so far came from my searches, my efforts, and my ability to, and you guys from your help, ability to hire a private investigator who did a very good job. He put his hands on the vehicle. He's accident reconstruction and gave us all the information that we need today when it comes to 11 additional miles, 46 initial cycles. That was those two that was done after the airbags deployed, to the damage on the vehicle that don't match the terrain, to the red transfer paint, you name it. Everything you learned about my son's case, if you Google it, came from my investigation and my investigator that I hired. Also, you guys, from the tips that we follow, going out to Flagstaff, going out to Sedona, hearing the one in California, the one in New Mexico that law enforcement, someone did call into the Buckeye Police Department to say the sighting in New Mexico that didn't fan out, but those the extent of when it comes to law enforcement. Law enforcement, of course, guys, have not spent any dollars into my searches these 49 weeks. They have not contributed to that. They have had their own searches, but they have not found anything. They have not found the whole hands in front of their face, like I constantly like to say. They haven't found the construction cone out there. They haven't found anything out there. But we found human remains. We found cell phones. We helped solve other cases, possibly. So it's a lot. We also, with the human skull, was able to get that family back their loved one. So again, you guys, it came a lot with these efforts, and that's what I'm here to talk about. Why I need to continue my efforts. Why I need to fight for my son. Why I need to fight for the over 600,000 Americans that go missing every year. That's the reason why I ran for Congress. You guys know I ran for U.S. Congress to bring legislations to help with that. But also my constituents, the constituents, I'm a constituent in my state, but I'm talking in future tense to my state to make sure that we have in my district what we need, and also what this country need, as well as the real checks and balances. That's something totally different. But I ran for Congress because I wanted to make a difference in helping families bring their loved ones home. No matter who you are, what your religious ideologies, what your political ideologies is, we need to bring our families back home. They are Americans. and we got to stop saying missing people. They are missing Americans, and we got to bring our families home. My son just happened to be one of those in those statistics. Again, 600,000 every year, 3,000, over 3,000 a day, over 2,000 children are missing every day. So as we're speaking today, over 2,000 children went missing, over 3,000 total people went missing today. So again, this is a tragedy. It's a silent killer in our country. And we're gonna have to talk about it a lot more. And that's what I'm here for. Again, I just want to start off with this one thing that has been pressing me. And I'm going to get to it right now, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to go to the website real quick, guys. I'm going to have to share a screen with you guys. So if you are with me for the long haul, this might take a while. You can always go back and listen to this whole video again. I will have it ready and available for you for those who want to go back and watch it again. If you just don't have the time to do it over this weekend and you want to, to revisit. So again, Please Help Find Daniel website is where you need to go. PleaseHelpFindDaniel.com. Guys, please go to the website and help me out if you can. This website, I started this website again when Daniel first went missing. I started a website, and that was the biggest point of my efforts. I'm a military guy. I'm a retired Army, and one thing I learned in the military, communication is key. Though law enforcement, I had to press them. They didn't even so much want to put anything out. I had to press them to go put flyers out in the desert and flyers or something. It took them a couple of days, but I actually was able to push them to do it. I immediately started reaching out to the social media, built the Please Help Find Daniel social media. The Please Help Find Daniel just came to my mind. Please Help Find Daniel. And I started everything from Twitter to Facebook page. And then I created a website. It's fortunate that I was already a person. I know how to build websites. So I built the website, Please Help Find Daniel. Then once I had the searches that translate over to, had two websites. One was searchfordaniel.org, and then that was specifically for the search. And then we have to continue with the Please Help Find Daniel. And I created this website to, sad to say, a lot of times you have to humanize your loved one. That's when people, as you care, they see the pictures, they hear the story, and that helps. So again, I built this website, so you please can visit this website. It gives you a lot of information on how you can help. Please Help Find Daniel. I started with signing a petition. The petition was there to help me, engage with law enforcement, to push them to do the right things and push them to do. I mean, I had to push law enforcement every step of the way, guys. I'm not even making this up. I had to push them every step of the way. Everything that was happening in Daniel's case, whether it's a search, you name it, I had to push and push and push and make them do that. So everything was asking for was actually happening. It was always been a big push effort. So I can say, go to the website to sign a petition, and donation is one of the key things that happen. And I want to start off with a couple things before I get to donation, because this will be one of the quickest point, the biggest points of this whole video is the funding that I need to carry out the search. Also, the volunteer the search tab. If you guys want to volunteer the search, you use this tab. Volunteer in other ways. I created this when I had the ambassadors for Daniel to get these flyers out to help with the Please Help Find Daniel apparatus. When it comes to my A team and everybody, we needed more people. So you also can still do this. This probably also can help translate towards the Daniel Robinson Foundation, because I definitely need people to get this foundation actively working like I really like to. Print flyers. Guys, if you want to help with funding, is always there to help me by printing flyers. It's always a plus if you guys can do that. It helps me out tremendously when I can get a help. So I can't tell you I've been blessed with someone who was able to help those costs, but it definitely costs a lot of money to print the flyers. And I'm going to show you guys how much it costs. Just to give you a little sample of how much it costs for flyers every week. And sometimes I had to get flyers 2 or 3 times, depends on how big the demand was and how many times people was getting those flyers, how many places was going to put them out in the city, different events. And we was putting thousands of flyers out, and we had to keep ordering thousands more. So I'll show you the cost really short when we get into the other part of this whole video and the reasons why I created this video tonight. But you also can request flyers. You can still request flyers and get them free of charge of you. We can cost you a dime. Of course, it costs money on my side, but it don't cost money on your side. So of course, those flyers will be free to you. We need to get as many flyers as you can. I talked to people here in 2025, you guys, and I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people didn't even hear about Daniel's case. So can you imagine that here in 2025, you go to Buckeye, I've been in Arizona a few days ago to do a reconnaissance of the area. We're going to have a search, and I can't tell you, I ran into people in the street of Phoenix who've been there all their life. Some that live in Buckeye and never heard of Daniel's case. So to be able to give them a flyer, to be able to divert them to the Please Help Find Daniel website and things like that, it's a blessing. And these flyers are a blessing. So guys, I still need flyers out there. I know it's been 3 years, but those 3 years is constant efforts. And the reason why a lot of people don't be found, because those efforts dry up and the families slow down. Law enforcement call it a cold case. They slow down and nobody's looking for this person. But I'm a different kind of father and I need you guys' help to constantly keep on fighting for my son. I'm just that guy. I'm not saying I'm different from anybody else, and I'm sure there's a lot more of David Robinsons out there that's fighting for their children, but I'm going to continue to do so as much as I can, you guys, humanistically as I can, and this is the way I'm doing. So like the mail-in protest, you guys can join in with the mail-in protest. I've been doing this for a long time. This mail-in protest came when I had people hit me up in the inbox and say, hey, Mr. Robinson, I would like to help you as much as I can. I would like to be out there, but I don't live in Arizona. I don't know how I can help. How can I help you with law enforcement? How can I get law enforcement to do something? And I came up with a mail-in protest just because of that. The mail-in protest, you guys, you go to the website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You print these right here out. These are the picket signs. When you click on these, of course, this is one of my favorites. I like to put this up. If Daniel was a cop, what would justice do? We demand the same treatment if Daniel was one of your own. We demand a criminal investigation into the disappearance of geologist Daniel Robinson. What do we want? We want justice. When do we want it? We want it now. So again, you guys, that's exactly how the PDFs look. And these PDFs are actually picket signs. These are the picket signs I plan to use when I'm out there in the desert, when I have to do, out in Arizona. Arizona is a desert. But when I'm out in Arizona, I can be out there and engage with law enforcement and, have those signs, whether it's a sit-in, these right here, you guys, and say, hey, look, we need a criminal investigation. So I'm planning to do that, you guys. And that's part of this effort when it comes to the funding I need for April the 12th, the week of April 12th. I want to be there a few days, like at least about 5 days before the search, even 6 days, if I can be there a week before the search, to be able to engage with law enforcement and get these things done that I'm talking about pretty soon here. But again, this is the website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You go to mail-in protest here, and you get these PDFs. These PDFs can be printed right here. There's 5 of them. And what we are doing with those is you're mailing them to the police department. Because again, what happens when families seem to slow down with law enforcement, it causes law enforcement to slow down. And I wrote this thing on Instagram, you guys, on Twitter. You guys say when the lights go out, I will still be here. You know that part there. It came to me because it's the facts, you guys. I have been, I worked 3 months real hard to put my son's case on the national stage, and it got on the next stage, but I knew it was going to last forever. That's why I started my own podcast with the guys. You see, when I bought this mic and I have the background and this and all this was of design, you guys, a future design to know that the interest of fade goes away. Social media, well, not social media, but the media will only be there for a while. They will only be there when the ratings are good or the story is exciting or things like that. It's helping them, and they have decision makers behind them. And some of the reporters are very good people. I talked to Sarah Sinos, who have a great heart. Kumo, who has a great heart, to say, hey, you have a friend for life. But these people have bosses too. They have people that make these decisions on what plays on the air and what doesn't. And Daniel Robinson case do not fit that forever. So what happens is it goes down. So that's why it's important to have your own podcast, like I'm doing here, putting out your own information, getting these flyers out every way you can. Try to convince people to say, hey, look, please continue to get these flyers out there, because nobody would actually hear about Daniel's case. Though thousands, I'm assuming thousands and thousands of people know about Daniel's case because it was a national story. But there's thousands of, more than that, millions of people who do not know Daniel's story. And in those millions can be that one person that knows something that just don't know that I'm looking for Daniel. See something, hear something, etc. So it's always important to get these flyers out there. And that's the reason why I continue to ask you guys to please, if you can, help me continue to get these flyers out there. But what I'm saying is this mail-in protest is for you guys to send it to the Buckeye Police Department, also the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Chief Sanders, and Chief Russ Skinner is not there anymore, and I keep forgetting the changes on the website, but this is the address. You still can address it to the address, to the sheriff that's current there. I will get this website changed. I keep saying I'll do it, but I haven't gotten in there yet. But the new sheriff, his name it will be there. That is the same address, the West Jackson Street. You see that for Phoenix, Arizona, for Maricopa County. We need these going in there every day as possible. And again, I always have recognized that those who are actually doing these mailing protests with me, I really thank you, because it's a form of donation. Because again, I know, and I'm going to show you how much it costs for flyers to print. And I'll tell you something, and it costs money. And I'm sure I print things all the time. I got papers right here in my hand that I print on my home computer, on my home printer, and it's costly for ink and things like that. So I really thank everybody who actually sending out these thousands of flyers that I'm asking for, because I'm literally saying, hey, look, I need thousands of letters sent out here weekly. And that is an easy, even though it sounds like a lot, it is easy to get, because if everybody, y'all hearing me, everybody's hearing me right now, send out a couple flyers every week, once a week or something, it'd be thousands a day, because everybody's doing it. So it's coming from everywhere, different directions. And what it does is help me to keep law enforcement, not to allow Daniel's case to be deemed a cold case, because the interest is there. People are asking questions, and law enforcement will not be able to move on from that. So again, that's the reason why I put this on this website. Again, guys, lastly, donations. Let's talk about donations. I need donations. Need donations. I need it like yesterday. I need yesterday, and I can tell you guys, I'm not just asking for a donation just to be asking. Donations is what got me to 49 weeks of desert searches. 49, it got me everything I needed when I was out there in Arizona to fight for my son. As you guys know, I traveled over 2,000 miles, drove, you guys, to go fight for Daniel. I mean, over 2,000 miles, guys. I covered a lot of ground, and while I was going, I started my investigation, working with law enforcement, calling family, trying to get all the information I can, gather everything I can. So it didn't just start, just when I got to Arizona. So I've been working very hard. It's just unfortunate that it took a long time to get Arizona. I didn't fly out to Arizona, but once they told me they weren't going to look for Daniel, he's a grown man, he can disappear if he want to. That's the sentiment of the Buckeye Police Department. I lost it, man. As a parent, I lost it. I can be honest with you, and I can tell you guys, some people say, man, Mr. Robinson, you're a very strong guy. I lost it when they said that, because I heard that language before. I come from a neighborhood that police is not really friendly to people like myself in my neighborhood. So when I hear certain things like that, I know the care wasn't there. And so I felt I need to go out there in Arizona and find my son myself. And I can tell you, in my mind, I was going to get to Arizona, I was going to get to Phoenix, I was going to go to Tempe, and I was going to have my son that same day. That same day turned out to be 3 years, and Daniel is still missing. So again, you guys, I set out to find my son, and I'm telling you something. But the first thing I did is got to Phoenix, and I told you guys, when I got there, I didn't know anybody. I just knew my daughter. She lived in Phoenix at the time. She and I were scouring all across Arizona. We went to the airport, Sky Harbor Airport, and I can tell you guys, oh my gosh, I didn't know they had so many parking spaces. We spent days going to every parking space, saying, even though we know Daniel would not just leave without telling his family, that's far from his character. But just in case, just doing our due diligence as a family, she and I went to every parking space in that place. It took forever. You know how much money I had to put in those machines to get in there every time I had to come back out? We had to go search every private, you name it, space to make sure Daniel Jeep wasn't out there. She knew what it looked like at the time. I didn't. I went to the first persons I know, the NAACP, to try to look for help. I went to the Red Cross because I'm a military guy, and that's what we do. So I was going out to try to find all the help that I can. And while I was doing all of that, I was working with the Buckeye Police Department, getting all the information we can. My daughter and I, the first thing I want to do, I want to back up real quick, is to look at Ken in the eye, the guy that told me all this crazy stuff about what my son did and said that morning. Outside of everything that I know about my son, I was a single parent, and I know my son very well. And those things that he told me, it do not match. First of all, like I said again, he did not even live in Phoenix. He lived in Tempe, so he wouldn't have no reason to say he want to go back to Phoenix to rest. So those kind of things didn't make sense to me. The things that he said, and I'm not going to revisit that. We can talk about that some other day. But what I'm saying is, you guys, I came there with a mission in my mind to find out what happened to my son and find my son. And so I was staying in a hotel, didn't know how much that stuff would cost. Mind you, I'm a retired military guy. And so, of course, we don't have millions and millions in the bank. So what I'm saying is, you guys, it costs a whole lot of money. to live in Phoenix and base myself in Phoenix and to go out and try to find my son. I used to go up to the Sun Valley Parkway when I found out after the everybody tell me exactly where area he went missing. I went out there with my vehicle. I had a four-wheel sedan, and I went out there to get in that desert and go look for my son with that car. Under the advisement of law enforcement, Buckeye Police Department said, "Hey, look, this desert terrain is not the place for that car. You'll get stuck. You have an issue, this and that." I came from Afghanistan, so I know about desert terrain, but the Arizona desert is a lot different. I was in that hotel room every night, learning everything I can about the desert. I went out there. I used to go up there almost every day, travel that 40-something miles from Phoenix up to Buckeye and that snoring desert up there to go out there with my binoculars, and people could tell you, local newspaper could tell you when I finally got them to do things. I was out there with my binoculars on the side of the road, looking as far as I can, because the only thing I can say at that moment in my gut and my heart and was hurting was the fact that the desert itself was keeping me away from my son. I felt trapped. I felt like I was stuck on the road and couldn't get in that desert and that gate that I was staying at every time. So I said, you know what? I'm getting in that desert. I'm gonna go find my son. And I'll be honest with you, if I was standing out that gate, if I would have saw Daniel far with that binocular, saw his vehicle, I was going in there with that vehicle, and I was going to find a way to get in there and go get him, go rescue him. But the thing is, I spent a lot of days doing that, and I can't tell you it didn't yield the results. But when I was at home in that hotel room, I used to study everything I need to learn about the desert, and I found a way. Never organized anything in my life like this, but I found a way to go find my son, and I did that. And I thank God, give God all the glory for that, because I didn't know how to do any of that, and He was able to help me. And I put out a bit mass thing what I'm trying to do, and a lot of people responded. And I met this one person that knew about that desert. He lived out in Buckeye, and that from that point on, that's when the search was born. Okay, but I can't tell you initially I could not afford it anymore, and I was about to have to go back home, you guys. And I was saying it already to everyone: I am not leaving Phoenix without my son. I'm not leaving Arizona without my son, and I really mean that. And I still mean it. I'm not there, but I mean it right now. I want my son. I had to go find my son. So, of course, I was saying it, but finances, again, you guys, will dictate a whole lot of things that, it can change no matter what you say. Phoenix is not free. I even talked to some of the commissioners there. The chief of police at the time was trying their best to help me with some type of housing situation, because it was getting low. Funding for me was getting low. Like I tell you guys, I don't have millions of dollars in my account. So, of course, it's going to be hard and difficult to remain there and to continue to fight for my son. That's when I started realizing that the Buckeye Police Department wasn't in my favor to try to help me find my son, because they haven't even done a search yet. And that was problematic for me. And I felt like I started to have to do everything on my own, though I was trying to work with them at the time. And so what I'm saying, you guys, I asked, my daughter came to me and said, "Dad, I ain't never heard of a thing called GoFundMe. Dad, they got this thing called GoFundMe. Why don't you ask the public for your help to stay in Arizona? They can help you." And I felt a certain way, because I do have a certain amount of pride that I don't like to ask people for anything. I never had to ask people for anything in my life. So what I'm saying is, it took me a hard time to do so, but my daughter helped me craft it up, and I asked for funding to help. And I think I started off with like 10 grand or something to that effect. And the love just poured in. I asked for a simple thing, you guys. Asked for a simple thing, and that simple thing was to keep my boots on the ground. That's why I put this picture here, you guys. These are my combat boots, and got everybody. This is right here, not in Afghanistan. This is right here when I was in Arizona. It's the same pants that I wore in Afghanistan. It's the same boots that I wore in Afghanistan. So that's why you see the O positive. Of course, as you guys know now, I'm O positive. But the thing is, that is the boots that I wear in Afghanistan. And the reason why I carried those boots, because I knew if I was going in that desert, when I packed that car and started traveling in Arizona, if I'm going to that desert and go find my son, I'm going to get him. I thought I was going to get it the same day. I'm using my boots. Those boots right there, you see, carried me in Afghanistan. When I had some injuries in Afghanistan, I was wearing those boots. You guys, so those boots, and I kind of taken it away. It saved my life. And so one of the things I can say, you guys, those are my boots. And so when I said, "Hey, look, I want you guys to help me keep my boots on the ground," and everybody can remember that. If you can remember the time when I first started and I did my first ask with the GoFundMe, was to help me keep my boots on the ground. Help me stay in Arizona. Help me engage with law enforcement. I'm not the guy that'll be calling on the phone from South Carolina asking Buckeye, are they out there looking for my son? I could be on the side of Buckeye, not holding their hands, but be right next to them and doing the search. And that's what I was doing, you guys. So the first thing I did was ask you guys to please help me keep my boots on the ground, and you guys was doing it. But then once I started saying, "Hey, look, I'm starting putting out the flyers." I wish I had one of the flyers with me right now. You guys could kind of laugh at it, but the flyers I had was this big flyers I printed out on the hotel printers, and make the flyers, and that is huge. And then I went to Staples, and I had it laminated and had these big old flyers about the size of the sheet of paper, right? And then from there, I started trying to make it smaller because it started being kind of hard when we were going out to pass these flyers out, because I was going to visit hospitals. I was doing my work, guys, before I even was in the desert. Hospitals, mental health wards, you name it. The homeless population. People are not going to carry these big behind things with them everywhere. I needed them to carry something smaller. So that's what the birth of these came from. Something small they can throw in the back of their pocketbook, and carry with them stacks of them, and saying pass them out and help me get them out there. So that's where the flyers birth came from. But ultimately, I ended up making the search, because, like I said again, on things keeping me away from my son is the desert itself. That was really problematic for me. So, of course, I started the search, organized the search. We started our first search. I'll never forget the first search. I was nervous. I wanted to get to that well site and see what this Ken dude was talking about, while my son's staring off in the desert and all the stuff he was saying. And so, of course, I needed to be there in that spot. I was anxious, you guys. All the days I would knock on the side of the road and couldn't get in that desert. That first search got me to that well site. I got to that well site. Didn't know exactly where it's at. Major New World folks had guided us there, how to get to this well site. Got there. I stood out on that ground, and I stood in the place, and I pretended like I was Daniel and tried to hear this man's story. And it didn't make sense, because the shrubberies are sitting kind of at a level that's all you're going to look at. So what my son, while he would be staring off in the desert to some shrubberies, it was nothing there to stare off to. So it's a lot of things that came with that story. It was a problematic for me. I'm not going to get in the story, because you guys know I can get long-winded. So what I'm saying is, I had to ask for my boots on the ground. You guys provided funding for me to remain in Arizona. But then even that, I started looking at the cost of the hotel rooms. It still was very expensive, and expensive ask for people to keep donating. And I was spending a lot of money. I couldn't cook no food. I had to go to the grocery store to keep bringing stuff in the hotel just to eat. You guys, it was getting expensive. So the easiest thing for me to have done is got a 1-bedroom apartment, and I was able to cook food at that point. So that saved money in it for itself, and it did. It was a lot cheaper than a hotel to have 1-bedroom apartment and to eat my food. So I've done that to cut costs, and also to provide ways when after that, that's for the next ask for the GoFundMe, is to ask for the help with the search and help with the flyer distribution. Then I had a city search, help the city search. The city search ended up turning to the flyer distribution. So it was a city search first, flyer distribution, all that stuff costs money. And I can tell you, we have to, in the searches, I like to keep volunteers safe. So when you guys see, we have the command centers. When I had my search, that comes with everything from equipment to the tent itself. Right there, you see that, guys? That comes from some of the donated money. So what I'm saying is all the things that I had to do to make sure volunteers are safe, because the biggest part for me, again, I'm going to say it over and over again, those people you see in this picture, it's more than people. I can have more than tons of pictures. But what I'm saying is the people that you see in the pictures are volunteers. They are loving people coming out to help a man and a family they don't even know. They hear about a geologist that's went missing. They want to help this family search their loved one. They come out in the desert, spend their own money, their own time, and they want to be out there in the desert to help me. It's my duty and my job and my love for these people. They are my extended family, to make sure they're safe everywhere I can. I spent days in Sam's getting food and electrolytes. I learned that when I was in the military. I took heat training. You got to drink water. You got to have water. You got to have electrolytes to keep. You can't wash all your water out to all your electrolytes out by drinking a lot of water. You got to have things replenish your electrolytes as well. When you're in the desert situation, I studied about that, you guys. So make a long story, helping volunteer prepare for the search. Make sure we have the equipment like the UTV vehicles that can help families when out there in the desert. So some just got tired. They was out there. They felt they can go out there and do these hikes and these line searches with us out there. And then when they get to a certain point, they got tired. Like, I can't make it back to the command center. And what we do, it takes those UTVs, those desert vehicles that can go across that kind of terrain, go up and down these hills and valleys, and go across these cactus things. to get to this volunteer, these loved ones of somebody's family, my extended family, and get them back to the command center where they can get cool off and get something to eat, drink, water, and sit there. And we also have a person there that can aid them if it came down to some type of emergency medical situation. So the point is, all of this is important for the Daniel Robinson search. I thought about all of this when it comes to my searches. It's not to say, hey, everybody, can y'all come out here and join my search? And we just come on. And I'm walking like Moses or something, leading everybody across the desert without a plan. So no, it don't work that way. I love my son to death. I would do it myself. I've been spending many days out there in the desert without people knowing that. I was out there after these searches, and sometime during the week, only a few people, whether it's my A team and a few people back then when it was my search team, only knew I was out there in that desert by myself. I tell them in case something happened, but at the same time, I don't put it in the public because something could happen. I had the image. I had people who's giving me death threats and things like that just for looking for my son. So the thing is, I was out there, but I could take the risk for myself, but I would not risk neither one of you guys. I wouldn't risk one person coming out there to try to help me find Daniel. It's important to make sure that I keep you guys safe. So that's what the command center is all about. That's what the radio communication is all about. That's the reason why I was fighting and asking for these drones. The drones ain't just for the search for Daniel, but it's also the drone I have now that I was able to get, you guys. I utilize that a lot to fly ahead of a volunteer. Even though we got line search and I did my recon in the area, you never know, things can change overnight. So as we're traveling, as the line searches are moving forward, I send a drone ahead of time to see what's coming up ahead before volunteers get there. So it's all about safety. It's all about keeping people safe. It's all about the love for family members, and I call you guys family members that come out there to the search. Again, this is the search for Daniel. Please help find Daniel search. So we do need those equipment, and I need those equipment. As the reason why I ask for donations, guys. It don't come free. If I can afford those costs on my own, I would do it. As it stands in 2025, I have gathered over $70,000 debt overall for the 3 years after the funding started rolling down. I still had to keep my efforts going. Still had to do flyers. Still had to do certain things to keep Daniel's effort going by myself, and it costs money. I start getting into these debts that I have to take care of. But someone asked me, and I'm going to get to this point, you guys. Someone asked me, and they keep hitting me on inboxes about this GoFundMe, and it's kind of irritating, but at the same time, I get it. People are donating their money, and they want to say, hey, where money going, things like that, or what you do. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to go through some of those things, but it's irritating. It's very irritating in a way because my mind trying to stay focused. I know I need to do for my son. I know how I need to fight for my son, and I really need help, and it's hard to constantly ask people for help. But nevertheless, I need the help, and I have to stand up and say, hey, look, I need the help. I need funding. I need people to advocate for me, to go out and help me get the funding, to make sure that I can do these searches, do what I'm showing you guys here, do these searches, get the billboards back up again. I had the billboards from the east side of Arizona, Phoenix, and to the west side of Phoenix, out there on the interstate, you guys, all across Phoenix, on I-10 for the people to actually see, hey, look, there's a missing man out there. Let's go help find Daniel. Please go help find Daniel. So, of course, you guys, again, these things are real. This is part of what your funding for this case, for my son's case, has been doing. It gave me the opportunity to continue to engage with law enforcement, go out to Sedona and all these places to chase up leads, to do all these interviews and meet people in places. It's a lot. I can just go on and on and on and on over the years. And also, while doing the flyers, get the flyers out there, but while doing all of that, keeping my boots on the ground. It's very costly to maintain a one-bedroom apartment, to take care of myself and do all the stuff there in Arizona, and still have my mortgage here in South Carolina, have a family to take care of, my young daughter, and things like that in South Carolina. So it's a big, massive help that I needed from you guys, and you guys have done that, and I really appreciate it. So I don't take any of that for granted, but I'm doing this tonight and today on this recorded live, to tell people who are putting on the inboxes why I need more money, why I need another GoFundMe, why I start a new GoFundMe. And I can't tell you because I need it, the continuation. I have that $70,000 debt, but I started thinking about it again a few weeks ago. I said, you know what? Let me focus on the search first, and then we can go on the other parts of things. This search need to happen. I got a tip that I want to follow up on. I want the searches on that area. I have a tip. I have a previous area of the search that haven't been done yet that I want to cover. But I want to say one thing too while I'm thinking about it, if I forget this whole live, in this whole video is that I was able to get the Buckeye Police Department as of yesterday, to commit to bringing dogs for this April 12th search. So they're gonna bring their dogs, and they're doing a strict area that I'm sending them to. Coordinates that I gave them is not gonna be in public, so you guys will not know this, but they will be out there on the ground. The Buckeye Police Department will be out on the ground with their dogs, and the dogs they're getting out there, and search this area of suspicious area that needed to be searched, and it may yield some answers to, if not Daniel, to someone else, but it need to be searched. And it's a specific place that has some evidence there that need to be checked out. So again, I do have the Buckeye Police Department do it. I can tell you that the only reason why that happened because Daniel has a new detective on the case. This new detective is Detective Adams, is his name. He seemed to be a person who will be willing to work with me now. So we will see how far this go, and I'm really happy about that because we need this. My family need this. I need this. Though it is a Buckeye Police Department, I lost trust in that department. At the same time, this new detective can yield new things. Chief Sanders is there now. It's not Chief Hall anymore. So those changes could yield new things, and at least that's what I'm hoping for. So again, guys, that's the reason why I have the search efforts here, and the reason why I'm asking for funding for the 12th. That really needs to happen. So now I'm going to jump to another thing, and you probably look at me looking up at screens and things like that because I have to change my screen. But there's some other things I want to get into, and I want to show you guys. And that is from what this is kind of like, and again, I'm going to say this, you guys. It's sad. It's sad, but at the same time, I'm saying it's necessary. Against advisement, or someone may say, "Hey, look," and I guarantee if I talk to my attorney, for instance, probably say, "David, don't even do it. Don't even sweat it." I'm just a person that want to be viewed and with my integrity, a person who I am, and I'm trying my best. I'm a father. I have a missing son. I have. If you guys only knew half of the stuff that goes on in the background, I lost weight. You probably some people look at that. Um, but half of the things I have done, and I'm not bragging on myself and things like that. What I'm saying, I had to be honest with myself, and I got to this point. Like, look, David, be honest with yourself. Stop life. I had issues that I had to deal with on my own. I'm a war veteran. Had to deal with a lot of things that I had to push to the side because I had a missing son. And then I focus on that efforts. And I don't know where the strength came from. I don't know how it happened. I don't think I can say God had to do it on his own. And everything I do is I'm guided by God, and I just keep moving forward, and things just happen. I didn't know that Daniel's story is going to be a national stage. I just know I needed to push. And I didn't know that we was going to find human remains. I just know I needed to be out there to search for Daniel. So I'm saying a lot of good things came out of what happened, but at the same time, things have been happening in the behind the scenes where I had to deal with things like when I was in the desert, carrying arms. I didn't want to. I'm a veteran. I didn't want to carry weapons anymore. Right, the things that had to happen in Afghanistan, I didn't want to carry weapons. I was advised by my private investigator who gave me one of his weapons at the time. My weapon was in South Carolina. Give me one of his weapons to utilize when I was out in the desert, right? Because I had death threats. I had death threats. Can you guys imagine having death threats for my threatening you, physical body injuries, just because you're out there searching for your son, right? Go to FBI don't do anything. Go to Buckeye, they don't do anything. Law enforcement don't give a crap about someone out there harassing you and doing these things, right? Also, at the same time, I had to deal with things like this, what I'm talking about now. Why you need funding to go look for your son? I just go in the desert and go look for your son. No, and things like that. It's things I had to let roll off. Like I'm telling families all the time, please let certain things just roll off you like water on a duck, because people can hurt you, and they out there to do that. They'll say things to you, do things to you, you'll name it. Some people love to hurt families and while they're going through their pain. I had people send me text messages saying they got Daniel and broke his legs and all kind of crazy stuff. I had messages where people are trying to pull me up for money ransoms. So there's a lot of things that you have to go through when you have a missing loved one, especially in a situation like I am, put myself out here in this public. I stopped my life. If anybody know me, and the people that know me in the past know how I dealt with my life and my retirement and my life and enjoy. I'm a person that like to be around water. I tell people this all the time. Every year I have to be in the ocean. I have to be in the water, jet skiing, doing something in the water. I have to be in the water. And I love water. I love the oceans. I love the sea. I love the salt smell. And I haven't been able to do it since my son, since before COVID. I haven't been able to do it because I've dedicated all my time here doing what I'm doing now, right? Even to the point where I haven't stopped. People say, David, stop, take a break for yourself. What I end up doing, running for Congress. Ran for Congress because I knew, I was looking at 600,000 people going missing. 40% all of those cases are Black Americans or people of color. And those Black Americans make only 13% of the population. All these children that go missing. I mean, there's all these different statistics been hitting me. And I was like, what can you do? Because I mirrored that with what's happening in my son's case. Like, look, man, law enforcement ain't doing nothing for my son. And excuses were, we can't get cell phone pings. We couldn't get this data from here. We couldn't get the pictures on this camera. The Uconnect didn't do this. Everything that was available technology-wise would not been used in Daniel's case. And everything that law enforcement did, use it technology-wise, when it comes to a Mile IQ app they use now, that the owners say do not use our app because it's not accurate. They utilize that to bolster their case because it yields no answers. It makes more questions than answers. But we have the answers here, and it's come from my investigation. It came from my investigator, and we have those things, and that came from work. Again, guys, it came from my efforts to find my son and my passion and God backing me. That's all it came from. And we yielded results, and that's why I'm still continuing to do what I'm doing. I get weary and I get tired. That's why you've seen a long break when I was running for Congress and things like that. Long break because I didn't have the funding to be doing it. I don't have the energy was getting low. It's painful, you guys, to deal with it. But I'm back. And I say, you know what? I have to keep on fighting for Daniel. I have to keep on fighting for what's right. There's missing Americans, you name it. So again, I just want to go over something because, like I said, it all stemmed from messages. And I'm just tired of people trying to attack your character, try to attack your integrity, and you name it. I shouldn't have to do this, but I will talk about it anyway. So I'm going to put this on the screen, guys, so you guys can see where I'm at on this. And you probably can follow along. I'm trying my best not to make it long because I am long-winded, and I can go through things, over-talk things. But this way, this is every cost that it costs to do a search. I did this printout, and I did, fact checks and things like that, and got this printouts from various sources and things to kind of give you an average and an idea of what it costs to conduct searches, to do it the right way, right? Not the average person that say, I'm going to run in the woods and start looking for my loved one. No, the ones that have the volunteers in mind to make sure that, we're going to do things the right way. So again, and like I said, like myself, to hire a private investigator to make sure that I'm also doing things in a way that, we can yield some answers that we got. But anyway, the average cost for basic local search, and this is for law enforcement. I'm gonna tell you up front, this is based on what law enforcement could do, right? This is based on this first part here that I'm going at. The average cost estimate on a basic local search approximately $1,000 to $5,000, right? That's basic. That involves patrol officers, some overtime, and some basic resources, like they did when the first day that Daniel went missing. That was the first thing Officer Cruz said. Hey, look. And Buckeye like to use tricks of words, so you guys got to follow them really close when you look at their police report. They say, look, we Officer Cruz, I was on the phone with him all the time. He said, hey, look, me and another officer, we're gonna ride up Sun Valley Parkway. I didn't know what that was at the time. That's the first time we heard that word, Sun Valley Parkway. We're gonna run up on the area where your son went missing. It's a long road called Sun Valley Parkway. They roll up and down this long road. And I found out it's about 8 miles long or longer, a little longer, just to get to the next city. And anyway, it's a real long road going up and down there. And so he said, we're gonna ride up there and see if he's stuck on the side of the road. But in the report you read, say, oh, they did a search because they were searching that area. No, they did not. They just ride up to see if he was stuck. I was on the phone with the guy. I record myself talking to these officers. So long story short, basic local search, you guys, again, so you guys can see this a lot easier. The basic local search, approximately $1,000 to $5,000. The moderate search, you guys, excuse my voice, a moderate search is approximately $5,000 to $50,000, and that includes a helicopter, K9 search and rescue teams, possibly extending over several days, right? And these are over several days. Now, this is on the days now, you guys, and a lot of times they find people. Extensive search and rescue operations is approximately $50,000. This is extensive. $50,000 to $500,000 plus. It could be a lot more. That encompasses wilderness searches, use of aircraft, specialized team drones, thermal imaging, etc. Then you got the high profile or long-term investigations. That can extend to $1 million, especially if federal law enforcement agencies like the FBI is involved in a case including human trafficking, large-scale criminal investigation, or extended international coordination. Now, I bring this up because you guys, and that one sticks out the most, because we do know my son been missing for 3 months, and I don't want to say this family come to help me. I love this family. They deserve all of this. Every family deserves the attention for their family when their loved one go missing, right? But we do know cases where the FBI was involved. You have multiple agencies out there looking for a person, and they'll find this person because they're using their high-profile investigation. And though Dane's case is a high-profile case and it went on the national level, he got from law enforcement the basic search, is what I'm saying. So they don't want to spend money on the Daniel Robinson case. And so that was an issue for me. There's a big issue for me. So I had to do it myself. When you have to do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. I wasn't an expert. When people donate their money to help me get my searches going, some things had to be tweaked. You get better as you go. You know how to cut some costs, how to make things better. But I can tell you something I'm going to brag about at the end. Because again, a high-profile case can go up into the millions. And that can be in one day. And I can point out a case that it actually happened that you guys would know. They spent over $1 million in one day searching for these folks. And they found them because the effort was there. The investigation was there. The FBI was there. All these people who had these interests there because there was a national interest. And it happens quick. But here I am in 3 years. It could have, I think it was probably like 3 days, but I'm here in 3 years, still searching for my son myself, right? Despite of what law enforcement say they did, they'll pat themselves on the back. We did a search, didn't yield anything. Like I said, couldn't find a construction cone. They hold hands in their face. They claim they use dogs, but they searched the area where they said they used dogs, didn't find a human skull. In that same area, we found the human skull that they claim they searched with these dogs, which I think never happened, according to eyewitness said they only had one dog. So it's all this kind of stuff that I have to deal with, right? So to carry on, we're gonna carry on. Carry on, you guys. The factors influence the cost, of course, are geography, urban versus rural settings, and special terrains like deserts and forests, and can impact the resources and allocations, right? Time lapse, the longer the person has been missing, the more resources may be required. My son has been missing for 3 years, so the resources get more expensive. Resources mobilized, the number of personnel, types, technology, transportation used escalates the cost, the weather, terrain, etc. So now we're gonna go to the next one so you guys can see where I'm going. So I started off with law enforcement because I want to make sure you guys understand how much law enforcement can potentially be spending looking for a missing loved one. So again, I want to go back on the screen here so you guys can follow me along with this. And we're talking about the next part is the estimated average cost for the family search, right? That we did law enforcement already. This is for family. This is for somebody like me who didn't know anything about searching, and I end up doing this for not only like what the people you saw with law enforcement did for several days. Imagine doing this for 49 weeks. Imagine doing it for 49 weeks and how much that would cost according to this. And this is probably just for one search, you guys. Private investigator costs. Okay, we said estimated average cost for families searching searching independently. We have the categories here. The private investigator. The cost for a private investigator is between $5,000 to $20,000 plus. Families may hire a PI when police do not actively pursue leads, and that was the reason why I got my private investigator. And I'm not going to put out how much I paid him, but I can tell you it's in the thousands. And there's a lot more than we see here. But the thing is, traffic, lodging, gas, flights. I had to stay in Arizona for 2 years. Now, mind you, before the search, I was asking you guys again, You guys can remember, again, I'm going to backtrack myself. Asked you guys initially, the GoFundMe was to put my boots on the ground. Put my boots on the ground. Boots on the ground mean, of course, this right here. Travel, lodging, and things like that. I had to travel back and forth to law enforcement. I had to use a rental car because I didn't have my, well, I'll take that back. I did have my car, had to get gas. I had to, this is the cost of being there in Arizona. So it cost me from being in a hotel. It was very expensive. That's why I ended up getting the 1 bedroom. So I'm going to tell you guys that exactly how those things roll. Again, let me see, move this back out and go back to the page here. So again, that is the point of the lodging and things like that. $2,000 to $15,000 plus. Travel to search locations, coordinate with authorities, and distribute flyers. And those are the things I've done and more when I first got to Arizona. Flyers and posters, they can cost between $500 to $5,000, and I can tell you that $500 could be every week. Printing and distributing across towns, billboards, etc. And I did have billboards, and I did show you that again. The billboards for Please Help Find Daniel, those things are out there as well. So again, we talked about those. Then we have here, you guys, there's search equipment like for drones. That could be $1,000 to $10,000. At the time, I was utilizing people bringing their drones. I even had the Black and Missing Foundation. I can't tell you, I'm really, really proud to say, and kind of sad to say, that the only organization, nonprofit, that helped me out there since I started the search for Daniel was the Black and Missing Foundation, and I really appreciate them. They even sent donations, and they also provided drones at one of the searches. So I really appreciate Derek and Natalie from the Black and Missing Foundation, who actually showed up for my family in a tremendous way. They even, the last Christmas, sent our family $500 gift certificate for Christmas. So that foundation is doing a whole lot of great things for families who have missing loved ones. So again, I want to say thank you, and I just want to throw that in there. But again, the drone and the gear, that is some of the things like the GPS gear and things like that. Things that we use out there, the radios. Again, I showed you guys all the stuff I like to use to keep the volunteers safe out there while you're out in the desert. So, and also the food, you name it, all this kind of stuff that we need when out in the desert, the desert equipment. It costs a lot more than what you see here. Legal, and this is just an estimate, you guys. Legal and advocacy support. That's $1,000, $10,000. Legal filing and records assess custody rights or public records. I did not have to use any of that, but I did have an attorney, so I can't put that part. But I didn't need all this other stuff they're talking about. Media and awareness campaign, $1,000 to $10,000. That means social media ads, press kits, consultants to help raise awareness. The estimated total cost, you guys, $10,000 to $60,000, and often much more is in prolonged and high-profile cases. As if you guys can say that the case for Daniel Robinson is a prolonged case, 49 weeks, you guys, versus 1 week or 3 days or 1 day that spends millions of dollars. So what I'm really gonna preach, and I'm gonna say it now, so I can say it at the end of this live, is that someone said to me, you had collected $300-some thousand since Daniel went missing, right? And why do you need money for the search? Because that $300-some thousand paid for everything you're hearing so far, all those weeks, everything that you're hearing so far, of all of that time. That's not money that was just sitting out in some bank somewhere not being utilized. That's been utilized in real time to do my efforts. When that ran dry, and you guys saw the news report on local news, they can verify that too, in Phoenix. When that ran dry, I had to leave Arizona. But my efforts did not stop for my son. It didn't mean I had to stop flyer distribution. It didn't mean I had to stop traveling somewhere to get places to do things for my son. No, that stuff had to start coming out of my own pocket, right? Which is fine, because I've been doing that from day one too. But what I'm saying is, it gets to a point where, again, you just can't afford it, right? I'll have millions of dollars rolling out the bank. So what I'm saying is, you have to rely on funding. So then you start reaching back out to the public again. And I started a new GoFundMe to do just that. It was based on the $70,000, help me take care of the $70,000 debt, and also this new search that I'm having on April the 12th. But now I'm saying I'm just focusing on this April the 12th search, and I need the funding to get this search done. It's promising. It's going to help my family. Hopefully, this lead can lead to something out there in the desert. I can get this area that needed to be finalized, so I can ease my mind that I search this areas, and at the same time, it allows me to engage with law enforcement to have them out there doing their thing with their dogs. Also, the search is not just about the search, you guys, on April 12th. I want to be there at least a week before the search because I need to go through Daniel's things. I had to get rid of his storage because the bills are high. I have bills in Arizona and I live in South Carolina. I have to do something with this vehicle. I owe a lot with these people's whole housing Daniel's vehicle. Go out there, make sure that's taken care of, that law enforcement take this vehicle and process it the right way so we don't have no more bills to house this vehicle. The second thing is I have to let things go. I have to dismantle all his stuff, his clothing. I had to do it one time for it, and that's an emotional point. It's gonna take me a couple days. There's less stuff in that storage, but it's gonna take me hard. And this is something you guys would not see when I had to sit there in that storage unit with his sisters, and we had to go through those things and say what we're gonna keep for Daniel, what they may want to keep and we don't, and throw all that stuff out, except the forensics, which at the time while I'm there doing that, I want to be there to press law enforcement to process the clothing, process the airbags, and get this thing done on record so we can throw it in the trash and won't have these bills anymore. Because if that don't happen, and I fail and I have to have the search, I have to ship those things back to South Carolina in a special way, not to damage the chain of chain. I think chain of custody where I want to use, but to mess with the integrity of that DNA that may be on these items, right? And do it a special way. So long story short, that's going to cost money. So what I'm saying is, you guys, it's us a lot come with that, and I'm just not here to make these things up. This is things that we have to always think about when you have a missing loved one. And so you guys can see on the bottom here, I just added this on the sheet. On the bottom, the total expenses $10,000, $60,000. Some families report spending over $100,000 out of pocket. And you guys can look this stuff up yourself. You don't have to believe me. You can go and look these things up yourself and see how much families who does what I'm doing, how much it's going to cost them. And then it goes in because when the crazy part is that when I did this, guys, I used AI and also used Google, and I did my research and search. And guess what comes up? Geologist David Robinson and the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. That's why I see it on the bottom. I didn't write this. This is stuff they see when I was talking about this in the public. It said David Robinson has shared publicly that he has spent over $70,000 of his own money searching for his son. And the way they put that is that's not including when you guys were donating, because I was utilizing my money too while you guys were donating. But when the funding ran dry, this is after the funding ran dry. Spent over $70,000 his own money searching for his son, including hiring a private investigator. That was during the time you guys was donating. So they kind of got this a little off. Organizing weekly desert searches, printing flyers, traveling, and covering logistics costs. I have taken, and they quoted me, I have taken on much of the financial burden myself, using every resources available to continue the search for Daniel, David Robinson. And you know what? They quoted me on this. They quoted me on this. When I saw this, I'm like, wow. It's amazing when you can Google yourself and see your own self. Wow. They quoted me on what I said, and it is the truth, you guys. You know, it's a cost. And I put when I'm doing all this on this live because I have to defend myself. I have to stand up for my integrity. I have to stand up for who I am and what I'm trying to do. And I really need all the help I can. And I'll be pleading with you guys to tell your friends, tell your family, tell whoever. This man is trying to do another search. Please help me out to get back in Arizona again with my boots on the ground. I'm putting this picture back up again. If I can get this thing going. There we go. With my boots back on the ground to be in Arizona at least a week, you guys, before the search, to do all the things I just spoke about. And then ultimately, after that, we're going to make sure we have the search for Daniel, and then I can get back to South Carolina. Hopefully, everything work out the way that I'm trying to get it done. I mean, getting law enforcement to process the stuff. I don't have to come back with this mess anymore, trying to push them to do the right thing. That is a difference when you're in South Carolina and you're talking on the phone and you say, hey, can you, I got this stuff in the storage. Can you do, and I've been doing for all these years now. When I get in their face, we got a new sheriff that's in town in Arizona. We got a new police chief of the Buckeye Police Department. Got a new investigator for the Buckeye Police Department. And I can go. I'm really friends, you could say, with DPS. I won't say necessarily friend, but I've had real good relationships with the DPS colonel there, the guy that's over that department. And so with the combination of all that, I really feel if I'm there long enough, I can really get these guys to do the right thing. So I just need to put the meeting together and make sure that I have these people doing the right thing. So I just want to feel confident I have enough funding to make sure I'm covering all these things. And that's the reason why I have my ask there for this funding. Try to do my best and putting how much it's going to cost me all together to do this whole operation and everything I want to do. And that's where I'm at right now. So you guys can follow along with me and please help me when it comes to my efforts to continue my efforts to find Daniel. So again, I'm going to go to the next sheet real quick. And this is going to talk about the desert scenario. So this is very important as well. So we got here for the desert scenario, you guys. And I want to back up real quick. Let me go back to the slide real quick because I want to give you something that I haven't showed you on the bottom of the screen after you see the quote on me. But these are the sources. For those who want to pause this and you want to go into the sources where I got a lot of stuff from, these are the sources, but it's a little more. You can do some of this thing on your own where you get the sources of where I get these numbers from and things like that. So again, we have the desert scenario. Again, for those who want to know the difference between city search, for those who have missing loved ones out in the city versus the one like I have out in the desert. All right. So we got the factors we have there is and you see SAR, SAR, that's search and rescue, you guys. We have the personal SAR team, which are mostly volunteers. You don't pay volunteers. Volunteers are volunteers. But you have an estimated cost of $10,000 to $100,000 for a search and rescue team. That means specialized team need to be need for heat, sand dehydration, risk, etc. So you got specialized needs, and sometimes you have to make sure that people are safe when they're out in these desert situations out there in the desert. Aerial searches and helicopters and drones. I was able to charter a helicopter, and I was also able to charter a fixed wing aircraft. Thanks to you guys are donating, and then also had it done as well from a volunteer who happened to have a plane of their own. Aircraft are often required due to wide open terrain. If you're in the desert, it's totally different from doing it in the city. You need helicopters. You need specialized drones. You need these things to cover wide areas. You guys go a lot of times. These guys, they have their drones, and I was relying on these guys bringing their drones and search. They send me footages of what they captured. They just take their drones back and forth and cover much area they can with their drones. And they send me all that footage. I take that footage off the Dropbox, put it on my computer, and I do my search out. And when I was in the hotel, and I also did it in my 1-bedroom apartment, and I searched that part that we didn't get searched by foot yet. We didn't do no line search. These are drones going outside of the line searches. And I go through that, and I pause, and I zoom in and look in because they have high resolution cameras and do really good, and zoom in and do a search from an aerial search at home in the comfort of the 1-bedroom apartment or the hotel during the time. So again, those things are very important. So I'm explaining all this to you guys, and it's going to take a lot, but I hope you guys will follow along with me. Also, K9 units. We had K9 units, and I can tell you I did not have to pay for the K9s that came in as volunteer work. So I really appreciate the people who did that. But it could cost up to $2,000 to $10,000 for tracking. It's harder due to lack of scent or on hot ground, dry ground. Logistics, food, shelter, and fuel. Between the $1,000 to $5,000 support for crew and in remote, harsh environments. So definitely want to make sure that we are keeping everybody safe by providing those electrolytes and water. City searches. The scenario for that, personnel would be most likely police and detectives. They can spend about $5,000 to $50,000. It is easier to mobilize in populated areas, but labor intensive. Surveillance review, like CC cameras and things like that, cost them about $1,000 to $10,000. It can speed up the process by, but requires time and tech knowledge and techs to do so. Flyer distribution, canvassing, $500 to $5,000. Outreach efforts to residents and businesses, digital investments, social media, and things like that. Phone tracking can cost $2,000 to $15,000. may reduce the need for large physical search efforts. They also have K9 units, limited ground searches for $1,000, $7,000, often confined to smaller areas than the remote regions. Estimate cost $10,000, $80,000 plus, right? So these are the estimates, you guys, and like I said, and the cost can vary. It can vary, but I'm saying this from law enforcement standpoint, what they have to do in those scenarios. And is again, I'm gonna go back to the screen really quick because again, if you go down, you'll see that also it is more expensive doing a desert search. The scenario low estimate. Now high estimate, low to high estimate is the desert searches, $20,000 average, and the high estimate is $160,000 plus. City is 10,000 to the 80,000. So you see the difference on the cost. And I'm saying again to reiterate, I've been in this for 49 weeks, right? This is talking about a small window, probably 7 days if or less, for law enforcement to go out and looking for someone. So and everyone search and rescue. When they say search and rescue, they're talking about what I'm doing as well. We consider as a search and rescue, we're utilizing volunteers out on the ground. That is a search and rescue, and you're still using the same resources. I'm just doing it myself. I'm a father, passionate about my son, and I happen to have been doing this myself without the help of law enforcement, without the aid of law enforcement. So again, guys, I need your help, and it's always been a grassroots movement. Scenario one, Dave Robinson in the desert search. And that's going to be, you guys, the estimate cost. And it's going to also be, let's see, I think for the city, the estimate for the cost of a city search. So we're going to scenario two, and scenario one will be, this is the scenario, you guys. On the harsh desert terrain, that is what you guys can see there. The harsh desert terrain, high temperature, dry air, wildlife. You got things to think about. Remote locations like West Buckeye in the Sonoran Desert, sparse populations and infrastructure. The time frame ongoing since June 23rd of 2021. It's still ongoing. I'm still at it, you guys. Search efforts extend for months with repeated search operations. So this is something different from what you hear, but law enforcement that would do a limited search, a limited time, and then they would easily say, "Hey, we can't find this person. We did our best." I've been doing it for a while, and I'm, and I'm gonna say this real quick. So some people say, "Well, how long are you gonna search for your son?" And what I would say to people, "How long will you search for your son? How long will you search for your mother? How long you search for your daughter? How long you search for your auntie, your grandparents? How long would you do it?" And then you can ask yourself again, how long would you want somebody to look for you, right? If you came in this situation or you trapped somewhere and nobody can understand, they think you're missing, but somebody holding you hostage or whatever the case may be, you're in human trafficking, you name it. How long you want somebody to come looking for you? If you're stuck on the island and your boat crashed and you was on the island surviving, how long you want somebody to come looking for you? So those are kind of questions you ask yourself that, and I can tell you what I think. And somebody asked me that, I didn't make up a time length when I'm gonna stop looking for my son. I had an auntie ask me that one time ago, and it's been a month out. And I said, you know what? I don't know. It's not in my brain to say, you know what, David, I'm gonna give it one more good year. I'm just saying, I don't think about that. I think about the now. I think about what I can do, and I can tell you one thing for sure, though. That's what I'm doing the search for. I'm having right now on April the 12th, and hopefully I get enough people to cover that area that we haven't searched yet, along with this lead that I have, and because that way I won't have to go back out in that desert searching again, right? So I'm not gonna be able to say I'm out there for 20 years, some hermit walking around the desert still. They say, "Oh man, this man been out here for 50 years, looking out here in this desert for his son." That is not going to happen. That's not even common sense, you guys. What search efforts is it's a lot more than just running out on the ground. It's following leads. It's doing things with law enforcement to make sure these things are active. Right now, I ain't even got law enforcement to process a vehicle fully. They ain't process the clothes. They ain't process the airbags. Those things can yield more leads. They can yield more answers. And until I get them to do the right thing, I got to keep on pressing. So that's what I'm doing. That's called searching for Daniel, and this is my efforts to get back and forth, get my boots on the ground again, to be in Arizona to fight for Daniel with my boots on the ground. When I say boots on the ground, I have to show you the picture again, to put my boots on the ground to make sure I'm there to fight for Daniel. Boots on the ground. All right. So that way you guys can understand that. So I'm asking you guys to continue to help me keep my boots on the ground. We can go back to this again, you guys. Technology, okay, the area searches, and I did drop my scenario, but the cost, you guys, we have the area searches, $25,000 estimated cost, multiple flyovers with drone, choppers, uses over rugged terrain. That can cost between $25,000 to $50,000. That's the estimated cost. The ground search ATVs and UTVs. I use UTVs, ATVs. You guys, it was for my investigator, his team, and also for my search team. I spent a lot of money on that, so I can tell you it's a lot. Horses, I didn't pay anything for horses. We did have horses out there. People donate their horses. People donate some of their Jeeps. They come out there, so they pay for Jeeps. But I did utilize the pay that I had to utilize for the desert equipment. That's something that did have. There's some cost that was very tremendous every week doing those searches, because I had to also put insurance on it and gas and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I digress with that and talk about the cost. The ground search ATV Jeeps, $10,000 to $40,000, specialized vehicle, and extended search efforts in remote terrain. Volunteers and coordination costs. $5,000 to $20,000, supplies, hydration, communication, signage, and search grids. K9 search, $5,000 to $15,000, limited sent due to the heat and the wind. Additional units may be needed. Fortunately, we didn't have a whole bunch of units. Technology, thermal, 15,000 images, GPS, 50,000, 5,000 to 10,000 for location signs of human presence in vast desert areas. Law enforcement labor, which I did not have, so we definitely want to make sure this is separate from what I'm saying about my searches. $10,000 to $50,000 initial and continued involvement from Buckeye and state agencies. This is how much they probably was spending, about $10,000, between $10,000 and $50,000. I would guess on the low end of $10,000, since my son been missing, is what Buckeye probably spent on Daniel, because they only did a flyover search. They have done a real extensive search, except for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And also we have the private investigator, 15,000 to 50,000. I can tell you, I'm not gonna put that, but David hired his own PI and conducted personal searches. So there's some added costs with that, not just the cost of PI, but also the cost of equipment. Estimated cost of search, it was with 75,000 to 250,000, right? That's what they estimated. And I put this in AI and went through the whole scenarios and put this in. This was the results, you guys. And what I'm saying is, someone's saying about 300,000 over 49 weeks, right? 2 years basically. Don't just say 49 weeks, but actually 2 years, because that include staying in Arizona and everything else that comes with that. The flyer distribution, that's minus the flyer distribution. I didn't include in the flyer distribution and all that kind of stuff, the cost of that. So that's when you can say, now I understand where Mr. Robinson say it was also money out of my own pocket that got me to where I'm at now, right? So long story short, we're going to the next area, and that's going to be the scenario 2 to really go into the deep dive in this part. Scenario 2, if it was, and like say Daniel went missing out in New York or something, some city, or Phoenix. Let's go for Phoenix instead of Buckeye. Similar case in a city, suburban setting, environment, urban and suburban environment, Phoenix, Arizona, or Charlotte, North Carolina. It's an easy access, more cameras, faster communication, more people to report sightings, but also more data to filter. All right. After search is about within first 72 hours to 2 weeks. Let me go back up real quick, and I probably missed that part there to add with the scenario with my searches. That is a scenario, guys. These are still just scenarios. And this was talking about search extended for months. This is talking about time frame from active search within the first 72 hours. Right? This is a city now, and I'm sure the money they spend for that. And it's a lot easier search, less intensive. Police patrols grounds, 5,000 to 25,000. Officer canvassing neighborhoods, public transportation hubs. Surveillance on CC cameras, $2,000 to $10,000. Viewing camera footages, license plates, readers, etc. Digital forensics, phone devices, $2,000 to $10,000. Cell tower triangulations, social media monitoring, and we also have public outreach media flyer tips, $1,000, $5,000. Mass modification system, news coverage, tips, lines, you name it. K9 units, urban tracking, $1,000 to $5,000. Shorter range, tracking in urban terrain. Labor, police detectives, $10,000 to $30,000, depending on the department's resources and hours worked. Total, 25,000 to 85,000. Right? And that's just in that time, that little time. So what I'm saying is the summary, if you guys want to come down here for the summary, we will have that here for the summary would be that the scenario on low end estimate and then the high end estimate, the desert search is 75,000. The high end would be 250,000 plus. Urban would be 21,000, and that'll be 85,000 for the high end plus. The final thoughts: desert search will require more resources, longer durations, and greater personnel and investments, often by family members when law enforcement ends its official involvement early. And I'm telling you, Buckeye did it early. Urban searches may benefit the tech, witnesses, and faster timelines, but costs can still be substantial if no clear leads emerge. Again, regardless of the fact, it is costly to do searches. And so, having said that, let me go back here again, you guys. I'm back on the screen. Having said that, that's the reason why I'm telling you guys it's very problematic when I hear those out there putting things and saying ask these questions and that would challenge my integrity of who I am and what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I'm doing my best. I'm not a professional. I'm not law enforcement, but I thank God for everything that was accomplished. You guys, everything that was accomplished. So I'm really happy about that. I can say that for $300,000 and stretch it when it should have been a lot more than that in a few days, in a week, and stretch it over 49 weeks, over 2 years actually. And you know, I think that's a blessing to be able to say we did a lot in that time. So again, thank you everybody who's been donating, who've been helping this efforts. And you know, again, I'm going to continue to fight and continue to push. But I want to go ahead and share this real quick for those critics or persons who have something to say. Um, this example of what it is to have, you know, the cost of this. Sometimes it's twice a week. The cost of flyers due to process flyers. And I had to get out my phone number, you guys, and my email address. And some people may still try to do whatever they get to get it. You know, those are my personal things. But the thing is, you guys, they print out 3,000 flyers, right? For instance, about $600 something, right? That's what I was paying, and you can see the date there. That was back when, and I'll file. I have a bunch of these receipts. It's just that I found a few, and I just want to put it up here real quick. This is on March the 9th of 2022. You know, just have a box of flyers, 3,000 of them, and they go quick. I'm telling you, those 3,000 go in one city search, and that's gonna cost me about a good $600 something, right? So just let you know that, right? $3,000, $6,000, 6,000 flyers total. It's gonna cost me about 615. So that's one thing. You go to the next one, you can see here, you guys can look at the date. That was on the 9th. A few days after on the 11th. Same thing, you know, guys. 3,000 flyers, $400 something dollars. And you could look at, you know, some flyers sometimes it can go up to how many? If I get 6,000, $740. And this is in a week's time, you guys. So it costs money. It costs money to put flyers out. Flyers are not cheap. They're not easy to print. And the ones we needed to withstand the elements, it is important. It was important for us to have those flyers out there, and it's still important. So when I got these right here, these are durable. People put them out there. They're durable. They can stay on the pole. It rain, and they hold up. And they're small enough for you to put in your pocketbook, things like that. So it have the information. So I've done that. Billboards, so like I said again, east side of Phoenix to the west, you name it. So what I'm saying is, you guys, I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting, but I'm telling you something. When I do my not just my efforts for Daniel, but this also has stemmed on to efforts for other families. What I'm doing here, this microphone, I was able to get in backdrops and all kind of stuff, and then learn how to do some type of podcast to help other families. I have families on to tell their stories. We have one family I really appreciate. I met her do one of my searches. I'm sorry, one of my candlelight visuals. You guys remember Jessica Nunez and her daughter Alicia, um, who she have her daughter back. She was on the podcast. So it's things. What I'm saying is to this effort is not just for Dane, but it helps other families too. It helped me learn a lot more, help me be more effective. It helps me in my run for Congress that I'm really pushing to do, so I can do some things and help with this effort as well. It's a lot that comes out of it. But ultimately, you guys, if you can, please, you at the end of this thing, you stayed as long for an hour and 26 minutes of this video that I intend to be that long. Um, I can't tell you I need your help. I need your help, and I need you guys to help me get this goal. Every amount count. I'm just asking for the modest amount that I can ask for. That's going to cover everything I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be in Arizona for a little bit to get this thing done, and also to get the search done on the 12th. So again, you guys, I really appreciate you. I appreciate again your love support. I'm just trying to think of anything else I need to say before I jump off. Anything else I need to share with you guys. And I do have one thing I wish I could have put on and see if I can pull it up real quick. But I would love to have pulled on before I left. I just been in Phoenix and um, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. But I just been in Phoenix, and it is hard to go back in that desert out there again. And one of the things was when I was out there, I had to go in the storage, check the storage unit. And when I say it was painful, I'm telling you guys, it was painful to look at Daniel's stuff, sitting there knowing that I'm coming back to Arizona to let his things go. Let's go. I talked to his sisters about it, and you know, um, I talked to my team too. I talked to my A team about it, and I can't tell you guys, it's very painful just even having the thought that I'm going back out there to dismantle his stuff. So again, you guys, but anyway, the point is I'm making is just thinking about that, something I have to get done. And I think this may be this one I want to show you guys, but I'm not sure. I don't want to push the wrong one, but I really would like you guys to see this. Let me see if I can pull it up on while I'm talking to you guys. I'm see if I can pull it up on my from my Facebook page, and I just want to show you guys this before I leave because I was out there in the Sonoran Desert and doing the recon area, and I'm going to just want you guys to see really quick what this actually looks like, and from my vantage point, and it looks so different. It looks so different, but it just felt different. Felt different because I haven't been out there for a while. I know I have to search on the 12th, and I know it's going to be those moments where it's a lot. It is, like I said again, it's a lot that comes with things like that when you're have a missing loved one, and and you have to put yourself in that position again to be out there and things like that. So it's hard. I think I must have don't have it, but anyway, I'll do it on the next live, you guys, on next video when I have more time to do this. I wish I would have prepared for this. It just came across my mind to say, you know what? I did have a video to show you guys that I have been out there in the Sonoran Desert, and let's see, and I may can pull it up real quick, but I've been out there in the Sonoran Desert and doing a reconnaissance of the area to get prepared for the search, and it was very hard. I think this is it right here. Yeah, here we go. I will put this up here, you guys, and let's see if I can. I don't know if I have the audio on up there, but I'm going to see if I can get this thing going for you guys. And let's see. I may be able to do it. I'm not sure. Let me do it. Let me do this over this way. I'll get it up real quick here, you guys, and thank you so much for hanging in here. I need to get off of here. But thanks so much for hanging in here with me. Okay, there we go. There we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the screen with you guys, and I'm just gonna play this off the Facebook. The Please Help Find Daniel Facebook page. It may be clear, it may not. I'm not sure, but I'm going to add this in, and I'm going to put you guys on here, and we can watch this together, and you can hear it. And then I'm gonna get off. I just want you guys.
Hey, this is Dave Robinson. I'm out here in the desert where my son went missing, with the area where his vehicle was found. Not necessarily just doing some recon of this area, getting ready for the April 12th search. So it's very difficult to see the terrain. Everybody probably remember this area here. It's called Pride Rock. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's called Pride Rock, where we gave it a name. But this the fact that if you go over this direction over here is where the vehicle is found, and right now I'm just trying to find a location where we're gonna have the location to get volunteers into the area where I have in the search. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay, this is Dave Robinson.
Okay, y'all. That's it, you guys.
I'm out here, and
I just wanted you guys to actually just see that, and hold on, let me get myself back on the screen. But I wanted you guys to see that, and to just get that feel for what I saw just for that moment. I mean, I saw a lot, and I'm telling you guys, it was very difficult because it changed a lot out there. They put a new community out there, development. You guys go on the social media platform, you see the videos I have. There are actually roads out there now. If I want to go to the website, I can actually drive on the regular road to get there. They have a big old case and a big old wall around it, and this big new thing on it, but it's a lot. So things change out there. And one of the things that really struck me, and I was talking to folks that was out there with me, is that now they put the cement down. I can't tell you, though we did extensive line searches in that area to be sure. It still makes you wonder if you missed something. And once they lay that cement down, whatever's under that cement is there forever, right? And so it makes you wonder, because my son was missing in that area, and it's hard to kind of second guess yourself. And so I say, hey, look, hope we didn't miss anything, but I doubt it. We had dedicated volunteers who was on the ground. We found human remains, looking on the ground, searching. We see a lot of animal remains, but there's a lot of human remains. We found human remains too, not a lot, but we found human remains. And what I'm saying is, thank you so much again, you guys. You have a blessed day, blessed night. Hug your loved ones tight. Do everything you can to show them this. So again, I'm Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. Please go to pleasehelpfinddan.com. Donate today. Every amount count. Everything count. I just need to be in Arizona. I need to get the search done, and I need to get back. So I really thank you guys for your help, and thank you for listening to my explanation and my ask and everything that go along with it. God bless you, and take care of yourself, and we'll talk next time.
Yeah.